Hi, my name is Ranganathan S.V.N. Kondala, and today I'm going to discuss with you Indian history, Stone Ages. When it comes to Stone Ages, or when it comes to Indian history, we generally divide history into three parts: prehistory, proto-history, and history. Always remember the word prehistory. Prehistory means that part of history where there are absolutely no written records, only archaeological evidences. Now, this is that part of history where we do know some information but not all. For example, Stone Ages. Now, the second part is proto-history. Proto-history is where we do have historical records, but we don't know how to use them or how to read them. For example, Indus Valley. See, with Indus Valley, we do know a lot of information about Indus Valley, but unfortunately, the literature or the writings which exist for Indus Valley are not deciphered. I mean, we don't know how to read them. So, we do know the historical period, but no specific information. So, everything here will be based on assumptions, completely based on assumptions. And then the third part of history, which you have to study for your exam, very important, is the core history. Now, this is the part after Indus Valley from approximately 1750 BC onwards up until present day. Now, this is the period where we do have records, we have archaeological evidences, we have other references, all sorts of available information. From Vedic period to entire ancient India, medieval India, modern India, everything is part of core history. In today's session, we are going to mainly discuss on the Stone Ages, which is the prehistoric period of Indian history. Prehistoric period goes all the way from 2 lakh BC to approximately 25,000 BC or 2,500 BC according to some historians. Now, this period, as I said, we have no written information. So, the only way to deduce information or understand the period is through the stone tools, through pottery, through artifacts, through metal implements, all those excavations and archaeological evidences. Based on that information only, we are able to deduce this period. Historians like John Lubbock, Gordon V. Childe, they have deduced and created a sequence of Stone Ages. We divide Stone Age into three parts. Paleolithic Age, which is Old Stone Age. Mesolithic Age is Middle Stone Age. Neo means new, so New Stone Age. Now, this three period, stone dominated as the essential tool of survival. That's why we call it Stone Age. Now, this information that you see as Chalcolithic, the word chalco means copper. Basically, Chalcolithic Age is where copper dominated. Now, entire sequence is similar for all historians, but always remember the time period of each differs from historian to historian. R.S. Sharma, Satish Chandra, 𝗳𝗏 𝗏𝗍, everybody gives their own sequence and timeline. So, don't worry about the timelines exactly. Some people say 5 lakh BC to 50,000 BC for Paleolithic. Some say 5 lakh BC to 10,000 BC for Paleolithic. So, there is no specific recorded estimation for this. At the end of the day, this division is also based on radiocarbon dating. Now, see, RC dating, radiocarbon dating, also called C14 technique. C14, very simple. You will hear this a lot in your exam. Radiocarbon dating is a sequence where the amount of carbon isotope which is lost is generally required to be replaced by a living being. So, for example, you are living. Every living being leaves carbon isotope, also gains carbon isotope. So, that way we understand how much of carbon is lost and how much of carbon is replaced. The only difference is for a dead being, carbon is not replaced. So, amount of carbon isotope lost helps us determine the time period a particular organic element or an inorganic element died or stopped existence. So, this is just an example of the timelines that we give. So, even Paleolithic is divided into three parts. Lower Paleolithic being the oldest, middle being the middle Paleolithic, upper Paleolithic being the latest. Now, one point, remember this. This is not hard and fast rule. So, upper Paleolithic will always have sequential overlap with Mesolithic. So, Mesolithic may also be starting like this. Upper Paleolithic, Mesolithic. Just like that, late Mesolithic and early Neolithic might overlap always with each other. So, this is 10,000 BC is not like 10,000 BC Mesolithic ends and Neolithic starts. There will be overlaps and similarities. There will be a lot of similarities between time period to time period. Now, for us, quickly, this part of a syllabus, most of the questions will be factual questions. You will have a lot of factual questions. So, for you, we need to understand the facts only. Lower Paleolithic, for our sequential purposes, according to NCERT books, according to textbooks, which Government of India prescribes, our general sequence is 5 lakh BC to 1 lakh BC. As of our history, in the lower Paleolithic, which is the oldest stone age, there are no human evidences available, no human remains in this period. Generally, it covers most of the late Ice Age, late Holocene period. In our textbook, it will say. This period was largely dominated by quartzite tools. Quartz is a small, soft stone type of element, mostly dominated with that. Most of the tools were hand axes, cleavers, and choppers. Now, hand axe, basically, it is a little long stone type, sometimes used along with wood. Butt end is broader, working end is narrow. So, it will look like this. The butt end is broader, the working end is narrow. Now, for cleavers, remember they have a heavy, broad, biphased edge like this. Two face, the front and the back. Choppers made by chipping sides of the stones to make them look sharp. Now, what were these tools primarily used is because you have to understand lower Paleolithic was strictly about hunting and gathering. No agriculture production, nothing. Strictly hunting, gathering. It was all about collecting food, killing animals, eating raw. There was not even cooking, no fire during this period. That's why lower Paleolithic largely represents pre-hand axe industry. Hand axe is basically using stone tools with hands. Lower Paleolithic sites in India mainly are seen in Shivalik ranges, Soan Valley in Punjab, Pakistan region, Belan Valley, Mirzapur, UP. Mostly we see caves and rock shelters of lower Paleolithic in Belan Valley. In Pahalgam, Kashmir, Belan Valley again, Allahabad, UP region, Bhimbhetka and Adamgarh region of Madhya Pradesh, Singhi Talev, Rajasthan, Nevasa, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra region, Hungsi, Karnataka, very, very important, has been asked multiple times in multiple exams. And Attarimpakam in Tamil Nadu, very close to one of the first Stone Age tool sites founded by Gordon V. child. So lower Paleolithic, strictly hunting, gathering. It was primarily, you can say, nomadic life. People never really settled at a place. Transition from lower Paleolithic is middle Paleolithic. Again, 1 lakh BC to 40,000 BC. Here, tools became a little more hard. Chert. Quartz is a soft stone. Chert is slightly harder. It's a piece of very hard stone. And again, it is made by chipping off the edges. Just like how we sharpen the pencil. You know, you take a blade and you sharpen the pencil. Exactly similar concept. And most of the tools, if you see, small size tools and medium size tools. And many of the tools were scrapers. Scrapers because after killing animal, they have to scrape out all the skin, all the outer hide of the animal. So they kind of create a rough finish flat stone called scrapers. Borers. Borers look like this. And the idea is pretty simple. Hit it, drill a hole, bore a hole by squeezing it. And then blades. Now tools, if you observe in the middle Paleolithic, tools became slightly more based on utility. Slightly more based on use, being able to use these tools better. And if you observe the sites, many of the lower Paleolithic eventually transitioned into middle Paleolithic as well, like Swan Valley, Punjab, Pakistan. Rory Hills, again, continuation. The Narmada Valley in the central India, Samnapur region. Tungabhadra banks, river banks, Bhimbhetka, Madhya Pradesh, and Nevasa. Most of this lower Paleolithic sequentially continued into middle Paleolithic. Then eventually comes upper Paleolithic. In a way, this is one of the most advanced Paleolithic feature, 40,000 BC to 10,000 BC. Most important significance is flint based industries. Flints are like hard tools and sharp. As you see in that animation, Flintstones, hard, sharp tools. And this is the period, upper Paleolithic period is the period where we see Homo sapiens for the first time, advent of humans. Bhimbhetka caves, Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Chota Nagpur Plateau, Gujarat region, fully you see upper Paleolithic sites. These are the Narmada, Tapi section. Narmada, Tapi and Tungabhadra region. Now the reason was pretty simple. Ice Age is done. By the lower Paleolithic period, Ice Age is finished. The weather started to become more warm. Warm climate, increase in flora and fauna. Now once the warm climates come, there will be a good set of increase in flora and fauna. Plants and birds increase, Ice Age is completed. Animals also started to become smaller and more manageable. New tools started called scrapers continue. Blades, one stone, two sides, very sharp end. Large blade tools were observed in upper Paleolithic period. Burins were basically very similar to those borers, but these are much more sharp, very refined finish, used in engraving rocks and bones. And these are small size handheld. These are those which can be held in the hand. And scrapers are again flint instruments, much smaller with sharp edges. You can say pointed scrapers, just like a scraping brush that we use today to clean the fish. Similar logic, to clean and scrape the meat. Scrapers also use wood or hide, mainly to clean hide. Hide is basically the outer layer of the animal. Even bone tools were used. Like for example, bones were used as needles. Bones were also used for fishing. Harpoons, blades and burins. Burins again, sharp tools were clearly observed in the upper Paleolithic period. Now, if you see the transition from the lower Paleolithic to middle Paleolithic to upper Paleolithic, the amount of tools the number of usage of the tools is highly increasing. But at the same time, the sites almost remain the same between Upper Paleolithic, Middle Paleolithic. The sites, the locations remain the same. Once the Paleolithic was done, somewhere about 10,000 BC, we see the coming of Middle Paleolithic, commonly called Mesolithic or Middle Stone Age. The Paleolithic era is completed, Old Stone Age is completed. Now this is Middle Stone Age, approximately 10,000 BC. Meso means middle, lithic means age, also commonly known as Mesolithic era, mainly because microlith is another word which is used for this era. Micro means small, lith means stone, because here tools become extremely small, handheld, approximately 8 to 15 centimeters size. And generally historians consider Mesolithic period to be a transition phase from Old Stone Age to New Stone Age. Naturally, it's a transition, so we see warmer climate, more flora and fauna, more number of plants and animals available, and even a geographical distribution now starts getting quite restricted. Langaganj in Gujarat, Bhim-Bhetka, which has previously been a Paleolithic period, continues to be a Mesolithic. Chopani-Mando in Allahabad, that Belan Valley region slightly extended towards Chopani-Mando. Bagor region in Rajasthan, very close to Nevasa, and Sanganakallu. Some books will also call this Saraiganakallu. It's okay. Karnataka. In Middle Stone Ages, in Mesolithic period, we see people starting to show certain features of settlement. Not fully, people were still nomadic. Hunting, gathering was still the main aspect. Hunting, gathering was still the main purpose of life. People started to live in huts with paved floors and windscreens. Now this was special. Also, most of the huts were circular like this. And people at Bhim-Bhetka even made floors with stone slabs. Now this is the similar flooring that we even use today. In certain water areas, we use this flat, large stones. Stone slabs and settlements are observed. Now, presence of this has sometimes been analyzed by historians as the practice of having settlement, or in textbook they call it sedentism. Sedentism means settled life. While this began, this was not the main purpose. Most of the tools in the Mesolithic period were chipped or flaked stones. Flaked means outer layer removed, slim, very thin stones. Here, most of the tools, as I said, were about 8 centimeters. The tools included blades, lunates, scrapers, points, every type. And most of the tools were used as combination of either two stones or with wood. This is where we see the typical hand axe which we use even today. We use hand axe even today. Mesolithic, since first evidence of settlement. We also see pottery, mainly reported from Langaganj and Bagor region of Rajasthan. Now, Bagor Mesolithic site is the largest site in India. Nagarjunakonda in Andhra region and Chopani-Mando in the east. Now, this period we also see pottery with paintings. Usually, coarse grain pottery were also there, or what they used to do is on the pottery, they used to sprinkle sand or small stones to look like you can say a rough finish, a scraper type of finish. That was special for the Mesolithic period. In Mesolithic, as I said, sedentism began. People were hunters, food gatherers, and fishermen together. Naturally, given their tools, they had smaller animals to hunt. Unlike the past, not big animals, small animals. Bows and spears were also used, made of stone. And food was a combination of animal and plant. And given this is a settlement, they have a society. We also have evidences of recreation like paintings, as I said, on pottery also. Dances. We also see paintings in Bhim-Bhetka of musical instruments like blowpipes and horns. Mesolithic people also show burial evidence in their rock paintings. Like there's one rock painting of family mourning the death of a child. Human skeletons were found at Langaganj. There were 4 types of burials. Extended burials is basically an entire family buried together. Probably first member when he dies, they bury. The next member they put and they bury one place. Flexed burials or folded burials is body is folded, the feet are put on the top, feet are very closely put and then buried. Fractional burials are basically parts in burial. And then double burials, this is special, double burial is new. Couple burials or two bodies or a male and a female body buried together. Now all this shows evidence of start of a society or a settlement in the Mesolithic period. Now, just as a quick repeat, prehistoric period, what we have seen today is prehistoric period. We have Stone Ages, which is basically an era where we do not have any writing. We only have archaeological evidences. There are 2 major types we have seen today, Paleolithic, Mesolithic. Paleolithic itself is again divided into 3. Lower Paleolithic, the oldest, Middle Paleolithic, in between, Late Paleolithic or Upper Paleolithic, the latest. And this followed by Mesolithic, which is the Middle Stone Age. We will continue this with Neolithic shortly. We've seen today till Mesolithic. Now, Mesolithic period then transitioned into Neolithic age. Now, Neolithic age is sometimes simply called New Stone Age. Neo means new, lithic means Stone Age. This was a term coined by historian John Lubbock, he is also archaeologist. Robert Bruce Foote identified the first site in India, the Pallavaram axe site in Tamil Nadu. Neolithic settlements in India are not older than 6000 BC. So, the latest BC Neolithic settlement is 6000 BC and most of them are on the west of Indus River. Like if we say this is India, most of them we see the west of Indus River. Neolithic sites. In the Neolithic period, the main societal feature we see is a continuation of what began in the Middle Stone Age. That is cultivation of plants, domestication of animals, that too particularly small animals. Since they are doing cultivation of plants, sedentism will become the center part or central feature of the Neolithic period. Sedentism is settled lifestyle. Now, given that they are cultivating plants, they will have to settle at a place. Now, that will lead to village settlements, which eventually becomes civilization, which will eventually turn up into a civilization. Major crops of this Neolithic period are wheat, barley, lentils, rice and millets. Now, remember, Neolithic period did have hunting, but these were comparatively smaller in size and smaller in quantity. Most of the food was produced. Boar, nilgai, etc. were largely hunted animals, wild animals. The Neolithic settlement, again, it continues what they did in Mesolithic. Houses were built on circular shape, and the speciality is houses were built on a series of bamboo posts. Like for example, in the wall, instead of having a wall, they will lay bamboo sticks right one after the other like a circle. On top, they will have a circular roof like this. Bamboo, 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 like this, bamboo sticks. Now, this was the type of housing we see in Neolithic period. And houses generally had this feature of 4 or more parts, indicating family living rather than individual living. Kashmir Valley, particularly 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 and 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧. 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 and 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 shows Neolithic constructions of phase 1, circular, rectangular, even oral housing. And some of these were even pits. Pits are basically living under the surface line. Suppose if this is the surface line, living like this in the pits, like burrows. Walls were made of even wattle and split bamboo. Wattle is like a type of fiber plastered with mud. This is a type of housing that you see even in the tribal households. Households had a hearth, a little like a little mound type in the corner, sometimes with only 2 stones. They might have, see that why this hearth is there, or why this particular suppose if this is the house surface like this, they used to have this, probably because of cooking. They might have been lighting fire here and leaving the vessel here. That is primarily a reason why the hearth was artificially created. Robert Bruce Foote actually calls Neolithic era a Neolithic revolution. He doesn't call it a Neolithic period, he calls it Neolithic revolution, because if you observe, everything changed here from what was there in the past. Some of the important Neolithic sites and their evidences are in Mehergarh. Mehergarh is called the bread basket. Of Neolithic era. Mehergarh is basically called the bread basket of Neolithic era. We see crops like wheat, barley, cotton. In Kashmir Valley, as I already said, 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 and 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧, people lived in pits under the ground. They used coarse grey pottery. Coarse means rough, finished pottery. Chiran region of Bihar, we see bone tools. Remember bone tools of the Mesolithic period? That continues here. Sanganakallu, Brahmagiri, Maski, Hallur, we see extensive amount of millet cultivation, which is also the culture of Karnataka even today. Millet cultivation. UP, Allahabad region, Andhra Pradesh, Utnur, earliest site of Neolithic. In Tamil Nadu, Payampalli and Kaveri region, large spread. Settled alive but still spread. In Belan Valley, continuation of domestication of rice from 7000 BC. Belan has been a paleo. Belan has also been a meso. It will continue to be a neo. All the 3 stone ages are seen. Garo Hills in Meghalaya is a new addition in the Mesolithic period. In the Neolithic period, the Garo Hills of Meghalaya. Particularly, understand this: cultivation of rice, where it was seen first, cultivation of wheat, where this was seen first, and millet cultivation, where it was seen. These are the factual information that you need to record in your exam, for your exam. That's the 3 stone ages: Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic. We've seen the sites. What you can do for you to easy to remember is take a map of India, mark these places in your map. Okay, thank you.